All right, let's just dive right into this explainer. If you're building AI agents right now, you know exactly what I'm talking about. The sheer absolute noise of the 2026 agent framework ecosystem. It's a lot. Today, we're going to cut through all that and figure out exactly what you need to build your AI agent. Because let's be honest here, picking the right foundation for your project lately, it can feel like an impossible task.
I mean, if you've been stuck picking a framework for, say, 2 weeks instead of actually building your agent, this is exactly for you. We've all been there, right? Staring at a screen caught in a 30-tab comparison spree. You're looking at endless feature matrices online, reading articles where literally every single tool claims to be completely production ready. And by the end of it, 100 random features, but you still have absolutely zero idea which one to actually pick. It's exhausting, and honestly, it just drains the momentum right out of your project.
And it's no wonder we're all feeling this fatigue. The sheer volume of this 2026 framework chaos is just staggering. We've just seen LangGraph pass CrewAI and GitHub stars, which is a massive shift in developer preference. Then Anthropic took their Claude Code SDK, renamed it to the Claude Agent SDK, and shipped this crazy hierarchical sub-agent spawning feature back in June. And of course, the heavyweights, Google, OpenAI, Microsoft, they've all entered the fray with their own solutions. It's loud, it's crowded, and so how do we filter out this noise? We need a way better filter than just reading long feature lists.
So the whole thing really comes down to this one single razor-sharp heuristic. What does your control flow look like? Seriously, that is the only question that actually matters. Forget all the marketing hype. If you can answer exactly how you need your agent to move from step A to step B, you are going to instantly clarify which of the top 3 frameworks you actually need. So let's look at the 3 major contenders through this exact lens.
Section 1. CrewAI, focusing on roles and speed.
Now, if you're optimizing for rapid prototyping, this is absolutely where you start. CrewAI operates completely around roles. You aren't really thinking about code execution paths here. You're thinking more like an organizational chart. You define agents with actual job titles like researcher, writer, or editor. Then, you hand each of these personas a specific goal and a set of tools, and CrewAI just magically handles all the handoffs between them behind the scenes. It's incredibly intuitive because it functions just like a team of human employees, hopefully without the office politics. You're really just assigning tasks to the right department.
And because of that super intuitive design, the prototyping speed is unmatched. I mean, you can have a full 3-agent crew running in under 20 lines of code. 20! It is for sure the fastest way to get an idea off the ground. But, and this is a massive but, you really have to understand the trade-off here. Because CrewAI hides that routing logic from you to make things easy, it struggles the second you need rigid control. If your workflow suddenly requires complex conditional branching, or specific retries on certain failure types, or crucially, a human approval step right in the middle of the process, well, CrewAI's abstractions will actually start fighting you instead of helping you. It's built for pure speed, not micromanagement.
Section 2, LangGraph, which is all about control and audit trails.
Which brings us right to the other end of the spectrum, solving the exact things CrewAI struggles with. If CrewAI is a team of employees having a conversation, LangGraph is a highly regulated factory floor. LangGraph models your agent as an explicit graph. Every single step is a node, and every single transition between steps is an edge that you have to define, including any conditional logic. Nothing, and I mean absolutely nothing, happens implicitly here. You have to wire it all up yourself. Yes, that means you're writing a lot more code up front, but the payoff is massive if you need that granular control.
Because you define every connection explicitly, like moving from classify over to route and then to draft, you get built-in rollback points. You get the ability to pause an entire run, wait for human input, and just resume it later. And most importantly, you get a flawless audit trail. This is exactly why LangGraph has become the default choice for regulated or high-stakes production systems this year. If you have a compliance team breathing down your neck asking, hey, why exactly did the AI send this specific email? LangGraph gives you the strict paper trail to prove exactly how it arrived at that decision.
Section 3. The Claude Agent SDK and Open-Ended Spawning.
But what if your problem isn't a predictable factory line, and it isn't a simple team collaboration either? Anthropic's June update to the Claude Agent SDK completely changed the game here. It isn't a graph builder like LangGraph, and it's not a role assigner like CrewAI. It is fundamentally an open-ended delegator. Its standout feature is this really cool concept of hierarchical sub-agent spawning. So instead of you wiring up a workflow in advance, your main agent can look at a problem and dynamically spin up specialized sub-agents on demand.
It hands those newly spawned subagents a highly scoped task and a specific subset of tools, lets them do their work, and then seamlessly folds the results right back into the main process.
This makes it the undisputed champion for genuinely open-ended tasks. Think about things like code-base-wide refactors or deep, multi-layered research tasks. These are workflows where you simply cannot predict the steps in advance. If you tried to map a massive code-based refactor into a LangGraph, the graph would be impossibly complex and rigid. But the Claude Agent SDK thrives here because the agent itself figures out the routing and delegation on the fly as it discovers new information. It is just incredibly powerful for unpredictable environments.
Section 4. The Customer Support Test. Okay, let's ground all this theory into a really highly relatable scenario: processing a customer support ticket. Your mental model dictates your tool here. If your business process is strict and fixed, first classify, then route, then draft, then require approval, well, that's an explicit graph. You want LangGraph for the predictability and that audit trail. But what if your support strategy is more about nuance? Like you want one agent to draft a friendly response, another to draft a formal one, and a third manager agent to pick the best version. That's a persona-driven control flow. CrewAI gets that small team up and running the fastest. But what if the ticket itself is complex? Say a customer reports a really severe bug. You need your agent to read the ticket, realize it needs technical context, spawn one sub-agent to go search the GitHub codebase, spawn another to check the server deploy logs, and then synthesize a root cause analysis for the customer. That's open-ended delegation. You literally can't pre-wire that effectively. You need the Claude Agent SDK for that dynamic investigation. Same domain, 3 completely different shapes of problems.
Section 5. The No Regrets Closer. Talking about MCP.
Now, before you rush off to write code, let's remove the final barrier that causes all that analysis paralysis: the fear of tool lock-in. One of the absolute best pieces of news in 2026 is that all 3 of these frameworks now natively talk the Model Context Protocol, or MCP. This is a massive convergence standard. What it means for you is that the custom tools you wire up, your internal database connectors, your bespoke search APIs, your company's proprietary integrations, they're all now perfectly portable. Picking a framework today is no longer a scary bet that risks losing all your tool integrations if you realize, say, 3 months from now that you need to switch. The ecosystem has finally matured, which means you can pick the framework that solves your control flow problem today without jeopardizing your infrastructure tomorrow.
So, to recap all of this, pick CrewAI for rapid, role-based teamwork, pick LangGraph for explicit control and compliance, and pick Claude for open-ended, unpredictable delegation. None of them is strictly the best, they just solve different problem shapes. So, right before you open your IDE, ask yourself, are we building a factory, managing a team, or launching an investigation? Let the shape of your problem dictate the shape of your code. So what shape are you building today? Get out there and build something amazing.